This film will aim to introduce the study of video games, more specifically violent video games, and the perceived effect of these on the players as well as the wider society. When using the term video game in this film, this will refer to a game played on an electronic device, such as a PlayStation or Xbox, where the player or players can interact with the storyline and make choices through engaging with the game. Popular examples of the types of games being referred to are Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, and Grand Theft Auto. In 2018, the video games industry was worth $137.9 billion US. That's more than the film and music industry combined. The top-selling video game of 2018 was Red Dead Redemption 2. The game is set in a past Western America and follows a gang of outlaws. Players are able to undertake many activities from everyday tasks to possessing weapons and committing robberies. The majority of gamers amongst adults are aged 18 to 24 years old. Men are 3 times more likely to purchase video games than women. Generally, with an increase in education level, this will mean a decrease in the likelihood of playing video games. So why do people play video games? Firstly, identity. Unlike with television or film, in many popular video games, the player can not only choose their character, but they can also determine their appearance, traits, skills, and sometimes even gender, ethnicity, and so on. It could be argued that these choices offer a freedom that doesn't so easily exist in the real world. Pleasure. Of course, being a game, most likely the main reason people play is for enjoyment. This could take many forms dependent on the type of game, whether it's overcoming different challenges through problem solving, finding a particular object or person, as well as saving another character from death or acting as a hero, or even killing another character or characters. Real-life social problems can be mediated through video games. This theory is called relatedness. Gaming is a social experience for many players where they can work in teams and solve problems that resemble real-life social issues. The feeling of being needed and useful to others is fulfilled in the virtual world. Sociological theory in relation to video gaming could be Baudrillard's simulacra. This can apply to almost anything within the consumer society that is created for people to spend money on as an experience or simulation. As an example, it may be anything from a Bavarian Christmas market to a theme park like Disneyland. The idea is that through recreating a fantasy world for consumers, the more elaborate these settings become, the further away from reality they evolve, sometimes to the point where the theme they are based on is totally lost and what remains is pretty much a fake reality. As an example, the video games of Grand Theft Auto are usually based on real elements of American culture, but the glamorization of gang lifestyle, violence and crime is so exaggerated with the continual additions to the game for entertainment purposes that the players almost mistaken the game for a reality that doesn't exist, certainly not on such a large scale or in such a desirable way in the real world. The gamers who are immersed in these virtual worlds may be so acclimatized to the game setting that they actually begin to identify more within the game than within their real lives. This could be explained by Baudrillard's theory referred to as hyperreality. The theory also extends to the idea that in contemporary Western society, choosing to engage in violent video games are a form of transgression, which was previously undertaken in the form of communal events such as carnivals in the past. Therefore, it could be described as a spectacle, where people can let loose, free from rules or confines, and enjoy themselves in a way that doesn't disrupt the real everyday. In Donna T. Haraway's Simians, Cyborgs and Women, she covers the notion that human beings are becoming cyborgs through their use and dependence on technology. This could be applied to video gaming, and that the players, when taking part as a character in a game, are potentially engaging in these virtual worlds purely as it is just the norm in society to live virtually, and entertainment is included in that, as well as the feeling of achievement that players may feel through passing certain levels of a game. This may extend to the friendships and relationships that are played out during gaming. Again, normal social functions and desires being lived technologically. Another sociological angle is that of Manuel Castells in his work, The Networked Society. Here he explores the thought that people are using technology to actively engage in transgressive acts that are unlimited and infinite. In other words, within the real world, these kinds of transgressions would not only be physically impossible, but also potentially illegal or dangerous. This perfectly portrays playing violent video games, as a player can take part in violence against other players on screen without actually breaking any laws or without any real-life consequences. The player can also play these games at any time of day, in any location where they have access to an electronic device. So what's the problem? Why is it considered transgressive to play a violent video game at all, especially as this activity usually takes place within the person's own home? There are thoughts that violent video games may have a negative effect on the players in terms of causing them to behave more violently in real life, as well as shaping their views to be potentially sexist or damaging. Is there any truth in this, or is this idea more of a moral panic portrayed by the media? There seems to be a lack of study with any hard facts into this area. There is a range of ideas coming from all different areas, from academics to religious groups. However, the main research that I found was from psychologists, who generally agree that there is currently no real evidence to suggest a link between violent video games and real-life violence. This isn't to say that a link doesn't exist, but from the limited research, there is not enough to confirm anything solid. My personal belief is that as a single factor, violent video games will not encourage a person to be violent in their real life. However, I do think that it could be one of many other contributing factors that could influence each other in making a certain person more violent. For example, this could depend on the background, environment, and life experiences of each individual person. Having said this, I do find myself asking, even if playing these games are harmless, why do we as humans even want to play violent video games? What does it say about us if we find enjoyment in simulated fights, violence, and murder?